Am I the asshole for not buying a car for my stepdaughter? English is not my first language. I'm child-free. I like kids, I just don't want to bring one into this world. I have a sister and a brother. My sister is also child-free, but my brother has a 16-year-old daughter. We love our niece and we like to spoil her. For her 16th birthday we decided to buy a car for her, which made her very happy. I married my wife a year ago after dating for 13 years. She has a daughter and a son from her previous relationship. I like her kids and I think we generally get along. Her daughter turned 16 a week ago and I bought her a nice bag that she had said she wanted. I thought it's a good and thoughtful gift, but my wife looked shocked. She didn't say anything in front of the guests, but after the party was over she blew up at me and called me an asshole. She said they expected a car since I bought a car for my niece. We got into a fight and she is not talking to me now. Edited a typo. We dated for 13 years, not 3 years. Not the asshole. If your wife was expecting a car, she should have communicated that so you all could discuss it and see if it was feasible. And bio dad should have been looped in as well. You aren't child-free. You have a stepdaughter and a stepson that live with you. Having said that, you don't have to buy her a car, but I think it's important to accept the responsibility that comes with living with young children that may depend on you from time to time. Not the asshole. Is step-parent. Is child-free. Pick one.
Everyone sucks here. I think there is more. Ops said the wife has always had a problem with his relationship with the niece. I think it's more how Op is more attached to his niece than stepkids. Op said that the bio dad is a deadbeat, so he's all they have. The wife feels he should put that energy into stepkids since they don't have a father. Op is cordial with stepkids, but we don't know if they want a closer relationship with him, and him being child-free means he might not want to bond with them, and they sense that. Op not the a-hole for not buying the car, but I honestly don't think the real issue is the car. Edit. You've been in your stepkids' lives for 13 years. You're a bigger asshole than I thought. I seem to not love these kids based how you talk about the compared your niece.
Not the asshole. There's no reason she should have had an expectation that you would show up with a car for her daughter. Particularly if she hasn't put forth any effort to do so herself, nor has she discussed any such expectation with you. In fact, she's beyond entitled for that one. Am I the asshole for telling my son he's delusional to think that I'll approve his marriage? My son, 25, introduced me to his fiancée Sarah, 20. He informed me yesterday that he was about to marry her. He has dated her for about 7 months in total. I was introduced to her 2 months ago. I will say it outright, I don't like Sarah. She's messy, and by messy I mean she looks like she lives in a dumpster, rude. She'll cuss you out when you eat the last of the chocolate. Even if it's your chocolate, because she wanted it. Source. She did it to my daughter. I saw it with my own eyes. Wasteful, and quite conceited. My son and her are banned from family gatherings after a particular incident. I have told my son the truth about it when he asked for my honest opinion after I met her. But in the end he's an adult and I don't control his life. When he told me about the engagement, he asked me, since it's been 2 months, if I approve of her now. I laughed a bit and told him no, I don't. And he got mad, asked me why. So I gave him the following reasons. 1. They're 20 and 25 and getting married, which I think is a bit too early, since they've known each other for around 7 months too. Neither of them have a stable income or know how to cook and clean, so they're hitting a disaster zone. 3. They're not going to have a pre-nuptial. 4. Again, I don't like her. But again, I told him he's an adult, so it's his choice. I also told him they were going to have to move out because I have 3 other underage kids to look after and Sarah is not at all nice or kind to them, and that I won't support him and Sarah. Just if they are in an emergency. Right now I fully pay for and house him. He pays no rent, and he has a part-time job, and his monthly salary, if they budget it, will give them more than enough for essentials plus savings. Sarah owns her apartment, so no rent. Plus I am fully paying for his college, so no loans to worry about. But other than that they have to figure it out something themselves. I also told him not to expect me to pay for his wedding, because A, they want a very extravagant one, and B, with the cost of living rising I want to save enough money to make sure my youngest, who is in 8th right now, will have the same opportunity as him. He got mad at me and left. I recounted this to a few of my coworkers and they think I am in the wrong. So I have come here to ask some strangers, am I wrong? Not the asshole. He asked you if you approve of her and you said no, but did not attempt to forbid him or anything. Generally your response and actions seem very reasonable. Not the asshole while he actually doesn't need your approval to marry her. If he was expecting you were going to pay for the wedding, that's a bit delusional. Not the asshole all the examples you mentioned show that he is still a kid. He's financial dependent from you. For the living for the wedding. You do not like the girl and they don't do anything to prove you wrong. He wants to be an adult he has to behave like one and take over responsibility for his own life. You are no awe. You let him the choice who to love, but you are allowed to be honest to him and that this girl is causing trouble on your family. Not the asshole. All your points are valid and if he thinks he's mature enough to marry then he should be mature enough to respect your stance. Storming out is not very mature. He's not entitled to your money at 25 yo. Why in the world would he expect you to pay for his wedding? I think it's great you were in a position to pay for his college. That alone puts him in a better position than a lot of people. He's not an only child though, so good for you for ensuring there's enough to give all your children equal support. Your son is 25 and doesn't know how to clean or cook. Am I the asshole for telling my son I don't like the name he has chosen for his child? My son and his wife, both 27, had their first child 3 days ago. During the pregnancy, they wanted to keep the gender a surprise until birth and were doing old wives' tales and settled on a boy since that's what the tales were saying. Since they were so convinced they settled on one name in particular, Henri. I want to emphasize I have no issue with that name. I think it's a nice name and I did try telling them not to get their hopes up because the baby might not be a boy. Well, the baby was born, and it turned out to be a girl. They were disappointed but happy. They hadn't decided on a name up until yesterday. They announced the name as Henrietta. Yes, that's the spelling. They asked me as her grandmother what I thought of the name, and I told them I wasn't a fan of the name. They seemed pretty angry, but I reassured them it's not my child and not my choice to make. But they did ask for my opinion, and I gave it and I wasn't going to convince them to change it, but if that's the name then that's the name and I will accept that. Still, they're pretty angry and said I could have lied to them. Edit 1. I love the name. Things take time to grow on people, and I love my granddaughter. Edit 2. For the people asking how our relationship is, it's very good, actually. They told me they valued my opinion and the reassurance I gave. They came home from the hospital, and we indulged on a Sunday roast smiling face. You tried saving Henrietta. We will remember you for that. I am imagining someone having that name for the first time in 150 years. So they asked for your opinion, then got angry when the opinion they got wasn't what they wanted to hear? Sigh not the asshole. Not the asshole. They asked. You answered. That kid is gonna catch 3 kinds of hell for it, though. Kids are vicious. Not the asshole and holy hell I hate this trend of kids being given normal names with bizarre spellings. See, when I was younger I was really jealous of the kids that had cool and unique names. I thought mine was boring compared to theirs. These days, though, I'm eternally grateful for my parents giving me a normal name, because all those people around me who have unique names are really struggling with them. Thank you for trying to help that kid out. The name is fine. Kids are all called Elsie and Albert and Stanley and Edith where I live. The spelling is the crime here. Am I the asshole for moving out because my parents expect me to help take care of my little brothers? My 18M parents decided to have their kids in sets. There's me and my sister, 16F, and our younger brothers, 3, 6 months. They had me at 20, and I guess decided they wanted more. My older brother is a good kid but him and the baby are a lot to handle obviously. This is where my current issue comes into play. Our parents told my sister and I once Mom was pregnant with the youngest, that they wanted us to help more with taking care of them. Fair enough we both figured, but since then it's been a lot. Once we got back from school, we'd basically be babysitting our older brother until my parents got back from work or whatever else they were doing. Then we had no time for anything besides homework before bed. This was most weekdays, keep in mind. My entire senior year my sister and I were basically free babysitters. We could never do anything because we always had to help with the kids. When the youngest was born it got even worse. Mom was right back to work, and both our parents work like 60 hours a week, so we would basically switch to childcare duty as soon as school was done until someone got home around dinner. My sister likes to joke that she's had the teen mom experience, and I'm done. I told our parents that I know taking care of my brothers is a condition of living here, so I'm out. In a week 2 friends and I are going to split a 1-bedroom dump. I work part-time and that can be full-time, I'm taking trade classes that I can take loans out for, I can do it. The issue is everyone is pissed. My sister is pissed because she'll have to do more. Parents are pissed because sister is pissed at them, and so on. Now I feel like I'm being selfish to do this. Not the asshole, not your kids. I hate that parents put the younger children onto the older children because they can't afford childcare or don't want to take care of them. People should really stop having kids they're gonna force on their older children. Not the asshole, this is called parentification. My parents did the same. I was the oldest and had to babysit my little sister every single night from 6 years old. It only stopped because I went to university. My parents owned a couple of restaurants and I had to be home immediately after school because they would leave around 4 p.m. Of course everyone has to help out with siblings, but it's not fair if you're 18 and working, studying to also be taking care of multiple babies. Not the asshole. You're not selfish, your parents are. Your sister is mad, and she has a right to be, because she is right now. All of the burden will be on her. But that's not your fault. Try and be kind and understanding of your sister. Prepare yourself, and her, if you can, to help her do the same thing. Escape the minute she turns 18. Just as a tip, make sure any money you have saved up in a bank account is somewhere your parents can't touch. Not the asshole. That's fucked up. Exploiting your children so they can babysit. But I'd try to help your sister in some way, if that is possible. So what? You can be selfish, you have your own life. NTA. Your parents brought those kids into the world, then they can take care of them. And if they cannot afford to care for them, they should not have had them in the first place. That is their problem, not yours.